The recent coronavirus epidemic, a lot of us had to stay in quarantine at home. In some families, this is very uncommon, as both parents are used to go to work and come home late at the end of the day. Feeling exhausted from the constant pressure from work, they spend a minimal time with their kids as a family. This time that the family spend together is usually not the quality type of time. It is either spent watching TV together, which is unlikely these days, or each family member is isolated on his or her own smartphone. When this sudden change of routine happened, many parents had to stay home to quarantine, or transition to working from home. The number of people who got laid out from their jobs, and applied for unemployment in the United States is devastating. A very recent study showed that in the US alone, more than 26 million people applied for unemployment. In China, another study showed that the numbers of divorces have skyrocketed due to the corona pandemic. Many U.S. relationship and marriage experts are expecting similar results in the U.S., weeks and months from now. And the main reason to all these problems is miscommunication between couples and partners in marriages. I have recently read an interesting book called, That's Not What I Meant, by Deborah Tennant. This book focuses on the art of communication and linguistics. And in this video, I would like to give you the best 3 ideas that I got from the book. The first main idea is to make sure that you are understood. Many couples get into problems just because one person doesn't receive the correct message that the other meant to say. Mind reading doesn't always work between couples. And allow me to explain. Let's take an example and say that you are working at home, and your wife is being a little distant from you. Now she is doing that because she wants to give you some space to do your work, and she does not want to bother you. But you feel that she is distancing you, so you start thinking to yourself, why is she being distant? You might then start questioning, what did I do wrong to upset her? Then it clicks in your mind and you remember that yesterday, you were a little aggressive with her because she has put a little bit extra sugar in your coffee. Then you might think, but that's stupid, she doesn't have to be so distant over a small issue like that. As a result, you decide to distance yourself from her. Keeping in mind that you came up with this whole story just by assumption alone. The idea or tip here is to not overthink the issue, to not assume that your wife can read your mind. Why don't you just go and talk to her about it? Maybe everything you are assuming is false. The second main idea is to accept that you might be wrong sometimes. Here, the author stresses that many relationships are destroyed because of the obsession with being always right. Take a moment to remember a conflict you had with your partner, your friend, or a family member. During the conflict, if your goal was to prove that the other person was wrong, then there is a big possibility that at that moment, you set yourself for something worse. And the misunderstanding became a bigger fight. Take a moment to focus and take a look at this picture. Let me know in the comments what you see in this picture. Was it an old lady or a young lady? An old lady? Maybe around 60 years old or more? What if someone tells you that the picture is of a young lady? You may not agree with him or her. Take a look again. Pause for a while. How can the above picture be of a young lady? Take your time. The interesting thing here is that if you answered that it was a young lady, then you were right. If you answered that it was an old lady, then you were right too. This example shows that sometimes there might be more than one answer or solution to a problem. If you are right, that doesn't mean that the other person is wrong, and vice versa. We might look at one thing from many angles. Finally, the third main idea is to listen carefully. This, by the way, doesn't just apply in relationships. It is really important to understand and apply this point for your everyday life. People often think that they are listening, but the truth about it is that they are really thinking and preparing about what they are going to say next, when the other person stops talking. Many times, you even find yourself replying with something outside of the topic that the other person was talking about, which causes frustration for that person. Try to notice if you do that next time you are in a discussion, and try to spot yourself. It is really a good practice when you try to listen carefully to the other person. Even if sometimes you are not thinking about what you will say next, you might be just going along with the other person using words like, yes, aha, or other things just to show that you are listening, but honestly you are not. What might help you to listen intently is to remove from your mind the urge of interrupting, or getting defensive. Try to let the other person say what they want to say, and when they're done you can reflect with what you wanted to say. You will have much respect from the other person this way. And that other person will be willing to listen to you, and thus having a better communication. This is it for today's video. I hope that it was of value for you guys. As always, if you like this content, feel free to subscribe to the channel and enable the ring icon to get notifications of all my future videos. And until the next one, stay safe.